Yeah, I thought it was really good back and forth. Great to get this work in against a good team and get it in against coaches that I got a lot of respect for Coach Stefanski and the things that they do, and so it was really good work and good back and forth yesterday. Great opportunity to evaluate our players against different players. So we got a lot of good work in yesterday.
What do you think of the offense?
Yeah, again, there's some ups, there's some downs. That's how any practice is going to go. And I thought we did some good things running the football. I thought we had a couple too many negative plays. It's hard to score points when you move backwards. So that's always our goal and what we talk about in training camp or even any practice review or game review in the season. How do you eliminate bad football? And how do you eliminate those types of things that move you backwards. And so that's always our goal.
Nick, how much do you're going to be without Landon for a while? How do you feel about left guard, how it's evolving, and how you feel at the position as a whole?
Yeah, I like our depth at the offensive line position. We got a lot of guys that we feel good about and that we trust, and and that's as a whole over there. And I feel that way about a lot of our team with the depth of our football team. And so this is a good opportunity for guys to work, get in there with different guys, meaning different, second team guys working with first team guys. And but I feel really good about the depth that we have on that offensive line.
Did AJ have a setback? Yes. Did AJ have a setback? Is that why he didn't practice?
Yeah, again, our goal is to get all these guys ready to and be firing all cylinders when the season hits. And so, not going to get into too much of that stuff. He's working through some things, and he'll be back out there when he can.
Is Tote the guy if Landon's not out there, or are you going to cycle in different players?
Again, I like the depth that we have there. Again, don't have to name any starters or any backups at any position. Brett's done a nice job, and I like the depth that we have at that position, and I know we have options there. So, but you asked about Brett. I think Brett's doing a really good job, and he's got a lot of versatility.
How do you balance the evaluation process versus getting whoever is going to be there if you need someone there, getting the most reps with the first team?
Yeah, ask me that one more time. I'm sorry.
How do you balance the evaluation process, maybe seeing other guys in there at left guard versus getting whoever is going to play there if you need it?
Yeah, I think it's one and the same. When you're getting guys ready to go, you can evaluate them, and I don't think. It's one and the same.
Nick,
I don't understand the question.
How much can you tell about a player by how they react to going up against different guys that they're not familiar with and haven't seen? How much is that reveal about?
Yeah, again, you're getting different. It's not only a different guy that they're going against, but it's different schemes, right? Different looks. You can't get enough of that. And that's how the season's played, right? You get, you're going against a certain type of front or a certain type of offense or defense, and then the next week it changes. So not only is it, and obviously the guys change every week. So. It's good for us to be able to do that and get that work.
Nick, as far as the cornerbacks go, where are you in balancing that? Hey, competition is a good thing versus you'd like to see someone sort of separate themselves a little bit at this point.
Yeah, again, feel good about the depth in the room, and feel good about the pieces that we have that are competing. I know you guys want that answer and looking for it now. We don't have to come up with that answer for a while now. We still got some time to come up with that. So, everything's a competition. That doesn't mean we don't try to put the pieces where we think they should go as it's playing out. But, it's just we're not in as a big a rush of doing that as you guys are, I guess, to say.
In terms of the offense being ready for a few weeks from now, how concerning is it that AJ and Devonte haven't had that many reps on the field together this training camp game?
Yeah, again, that's the ebbs and flows of training camp. I think if you look around the entire league, that's probably happened. That's happened here the last 4 years and every year that I've ever been involved in training camp. That you get some guys that are in, they're out, and we. As far as them being in together, it's great when those guys are in together, and so I don't look at it that way. I just look at everybody's on their own schedule. Everybody's on a different schedule based off their health and different things like that. So we'll look forward to getting him back on the field when he comes back.
What stood out to you about Johnny Wilson's development?
Yeah, I think that Johnny, you'd like to, Johnny's can be used as an example, meaning like Johnny got drafted as a wide receiver, but he contributed as a rookie in other ways, right? As playing wide receiver, but maybe not in the ways he contributed at Florida State. It was he had to find his role that was for this team, and also on special teams. And I think that's a great example of, how are you contributing, right? And how are you playing your role? Are you mastering your role and doing what's best for the football team? And I think Johnny's a good example of that. And then that gives you time when you're able to take the role that you have and excel at it. Well, that gives you time to develop in other areas, like a pass catcher. And I think that we're seeing that. I think we're seeing him make some plays as a receiver now, expanding his role. And we'll see how that continues to go. But I think that's just a good example of what I talked about. And then also just the patience of, that this league, right? Sometimes we forget that it takes time to develop as a player, as a coach, and all sorts of things. And so, I think we're continuing to see him grow, though.
With the depth at wide receiver, with the depth at wide receiver, how difficult is that future decision becoming when you're going to have to trip the roster? I mean, Terrace coming back. I think you guys opened with 5 last year. Conversations, what goes into kind of maybe even.
Yeah, just everything, as a daily discussion. We love the competition part of it because I think we talk about you can't be great without the greatness of others. Well, that doesn't just apply to Saquon running the football behind a great offense line, or AJ, and having the stat, getting one-on-one looks because they're crowding the box to stop the run game, right? That also applies to competition, right? You get better through competition. And so that's another form of you can't be great without the greatness of others. Terrace having a good camp, is going to force Johnny to have a good camp, and is going to force Anais to have a good camp, is going to force Darius Cooper to have a good camp, and that just elevates the entire room. And so I love that about, it's true, that phrase is true in so many ways.
It's your first straight year as a play caller. Does your relationship with Kevin make it that's an easier transition?
Yeah, had the same relationship, obviously, with Shane. Very similar. Shane, probably my relationship, very similar to Kevin and I. And then Brian also had been here. Kellen was the only one that out of that entire group, including Kevin, that was somebody that was new in the offseason. And so I think there's advantages to that. No, most definitely. There's advantages to knowing some of the things that have worked for us, some of the things that haven't worked for us, the relationship he has with the players, the flow of a football game. I think, like I told you guys after that last game, the flow was seamless, but Kevin and I have been doing that flow, even though Kevin wasn't calling the plays for the last 8 years, really, at the end of the day. And so, you're confident about those things.
What did you see from the running game yesterday, especially with AJ and Will Shipley and how they did?
One thing I was, again, I felt like we, different style front than we're playing against in practice. So I thought it was a nice job by the offensive line understanding that. Stout did a great job of coaching that up. One thing I was really impressed by was just you look for your habits to reflect in each practice. And I was really impressed with just the way we carried the football, meaning just the fundamentals of the carrying the football. We just were crisp at that part, right? And we obviously spent a lot of time talking about that, drilling that, reviewing that on tape. And I thought that really showed up yesterday, whether it was Saquon with the ball in his hands, whether that was AJ, whether that was Will, it just really crisp there. And then it really, that's something I pointed out in the practice tape yesterday, just, how clean that was. Because it was also, it looked the same when Devonte had the ball in his hands and when Kyler Granson had the ball in his hands and Grant Calcaterra, so and Dallas. So that's what I was pleased about with that our fundamentals look really sharp. But it was good, again, to go against a different style of defense and be able to go through that course. And I thought our combo blocks were good against a really good defensive line and obviously Coach Schwartz got a ton of respect for him. And, you look around his defenses over the years, they're always good on the defensive line. And so it was a good challenge for us on that aspect. And like I said, had a couple too many negative plays, but there's a lot of different things that contribute to that.
How is that? Has been here as long as he has. Do you see less of a learning curve for Jalen this summer? And if so, what does that look like, and how do you see that?
Yeah, I think Jalen's doing a really nice job. I really think he's doing a good job of continuing to master the offense. That's something that you can always continue to get better at, going through your reads, getting through your reads, not putting the ball at risk, and the more reps he gets at a certain play, those all build up. And so, a lot of similar things, a lot of new wrinkles too, that our future opponents will have to be, they won't see until they play us game 1, game 2, game 3. So, I feel like it's been a good transition. I think Jalen and I let them talk about their relationship. As far as, but I know that they've always had a good relationship, and it's cool to watch. You guys can ask them more, but it's cool to watch them interact on a daily basis, whether it's in the meeting room, whether it's on the field, whether it's I'll stop by Kevin's office. Jalen will be in there. It's great.
Jalen talked yesterday about the impact that Scott Leffler has had on in terms of his approach. Is there a certain area of the way Scott handles coaching that stands out to you the most?
Yeah, Scott is relentless on the details and fundamentals of playing the quarterback position. Relentless. I'm not sure he sleeps. And yeah, sometimes you can tell in his eyes that they're heavy, but I know he's in there just grinding all the time. And so just relentless in his approach. He's going to have something for him after every single play. And my experience is guys want to be coached, and they want to be coached hard, and they want to get better. And all your best players definitely want that. And Jalen is definitely that. He wants to get better. And, I value that Scott's doing the job that he's doing and helping Jalen get better.
I respect you saying there's not time, but you play a game 3 weeks from today. You have 3 practices next week, and then camp's essentially over. In your experience, how long does it take for you to decide these are the guys?
Yeah. I guess, Zach, that was just my nice way of telling you that I'm not going to give you any information.
All right.